Yo, what's good, sports fanatics? We want to welcome you to another episode of From the Grid to the Rim and everything in between as it relates to sports. I'm Darylyn Brown, along with my co-host, Big Ken Fry, Monte Brown. And as you know, this channel, we just like to have fun talking about sports, period, and anything we want to make relevant in our point of view, of course. And in this episode, this current episode, we want to focus on the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals, in which are sure to be drama-filled, as we saw already in the quarterfinals. Excuse me, it left no doubt. It really left no doubt. And so what I want to do before we get this thing started, I want to go ahead and just kick off the show with the official announcement that swooped in with Mr. Joel Embiid officially named the NBA's most valuable player, averaging 31.1 points a game, 10.2 rebounds this season. And I think it was an obvious choice. I mean, he's been beastly all season, and it was pretty much a shoo-in. The obvious that he would get the MVP. So big ups to Joel Embiid. Congratulations on a job well done, and to the 76ers organization and all that helped him get to that point, man. He's well deserving of that honor. I didn't know if any of y'all gentlemen wanted to chime in before I moved on.
Yeah. Joker up there in Denver tried to make it interesting, but yeah, like you mentioned, Duwayne, Embiid pretty much showed out the whole season. I mean, outside of a few injuries here or there, he was the man. Looks like he got tired of Joker winning it every year, and he says, "You know what? I'm not leaving the doubt this year, and I'm getting it." And he got it.
Yeah, he played great, well deserved. I can't really add more than that, man. That dude had his best year of his career, and he definitely beat Joker this year, man. Yeah, he deserved it, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. So again, congrats to Big Joel Embiid, well deserving. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it, gentlemen. What I want to go ahead and start talking about before we start talking about round two of these conference semifinals, both East and Western Conference. Let's just go ahead and give our synopsis about what we thought about some of the games prior to. I'll go ahead and start. And basically, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the Lakers versus the Grizz. With the Lakers, they had one of the best defensive performances in that game 6 I've seen all year round. I mean, have you ever heard so much confidence? I mean, excuse me. Have you ever heard so much smack talk that came from one team all series? I mean, I ain't heard this much smack talk from the Grizz since Honey Smacks was invented. I mean, truth be told, I can appreciate the dog in Dylan Brooks poses. Yes. I mean, for real. But when he's on his game, I'm just being honest. He's a baller, man. But I hope the Lakers can consider him in free agency, but that's just a thought. Yes. But my Lakers went in that game 6 and beat the brakes off them jokers. And then Mr. AR-15 himself, Mr. Austin Reeves, became that floor general. He's alleviated pressure off the King and AD, which we had the pleasure of witnessing some stellar performances and some fast-paced play. AD had 26 blocks in that series, bro. 26 blocks. Come on now. That should win you any series with 26 blocks. And then we go into that highly anticipated with the Warriors coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But then we also saw Steph Curry drop an epic 50 against the high-octane offense, with those Sacramento Kings. Brilliant performances. We saw that superstar in the making in De'Aaron Fox and his Kentucky teammate, Malik Monk, who was a former Laker, of course. And then, of course, we ain't going to forget Sabonis, but this series was pure excitement in every game, pure excitement. And so, of course, the Dubs found their groove, and they looking more scarier than I gave them credit for. So that's something we definitely need to watch out. Then we say, will the real Jimmy Butler please stand up and take a bow with 42-point performance, and that eliminated the Bucks, which I thought would be more of a competitive series, in my opinion. I just didn't think Bucks were going to go out like that, but we saw, and then we go into the next, we saw that high-powered duo of Durant and Booker, who took down the Clips with Booker's 42-point performance. And then you see that Boston won't be denied in the awesome play of Brown and Tatum, and let's not forget about Marcus Smart either. And what talking about first round without talking about Jalen Brunson, who and he's really making the Mavericks pay by not paying him. And they pretty much look like they just gave his butt away. Now he's just getting the Knicks on his back. He's balling out. So what I say is shine, Brunson, shine. So we're officially now into our second round with some intriguing matchups. But I want to go ahead and pass it down to my colleagues and my co-hosts and just kind of give your first round synopsis as well before we dive into the second round talk.
Yeah, my biggest thing is Dylan Brooks talking trash. I talked to Monte about that yesterday. I said the same thing you said, almost in the exact same words. Like, if he can talk when he's backing it up, but he ain't backing it up. He was driving me crazy. Like, I was like, man. And then there was this one game, even before the game started, he was talking trash. He was talking trash to LeBron during layup drills, man. I'm like, the game hasn't even started. This dude's already trying to talk, and LeBron's just like, get the heck out of here, man. Yeah, Dylan Brooks was talking too much. I know trash talking is always part of the game, but when you're talking trash, you gotta be having a good game, and your team should win the game, not lose by. He got his 40, man. He said, "I'm not gonna respect everyone till they score 40 points." I'm like, well, you lost by 40 in Game 6, so you got your 40, bro. And also I thought, like, you're not gonna respect a guy who's dropping 30 on you every night and winning. Like, why does it gotta be 40? That comment just made no sense to me. Like, why someone's gotta get 40? But it was just insane. And the next series, Golden State Warriors, yeah, Steph going for 50, like Duwayne said, that was crazy. Yeah, the Kings had a great first playoff run in not being in the playoffs for 15 or 16 years. That like they showed out. Yeah, the Kentucky guys did well, like Duwayne already alluded to. They played really good, and they had some other good ballers out there. On the rookie did good. I can't remember his name, but that rookie shooter. I had his name, but he was making some 3-point shots in that series. He was doing good. But the Knicks, it was Jalen Brunson and JT Barrett. JT Barrett was going off too, and I thought the Knicks just outplayed them. The series was competitive, but only went 5 games. But all the games were pretty close, except for Game 3 when the Knicks won by 20. But those were really competitive games, but unfortunately, it just only went 5 games. I thought Donovan Mitchell really struggled. In Game 4, he only had 11 points, and that hurt them big time. But his backcourt mate, Garland, scored 23 to kind of help out, and it kept the game really close, But yeah, the Cavs just didn't show up. But it was their first time in the playoffs in a while since losing LeBron, so. I think the same thing about Sacramento and the Cavs. Like, it was the first time in the playoffs, in a while. And the Sixers won, and Tatum and his guys did good. I think Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young win those 2 games. I think Boston's a little bit suspicious being a 2 seed, in my opinion. Not that they don't have a good team, they do. But I don't know. I really like Jason Tatum, but I have a diehard Boston fan that I'm close to, and he loved Jason Tatum. But even when they lost in the NBA Finals last year, he was questioning Jason Tatum's toughness. So that's interesting. He's a diehard Boston guy. If you hear this guy talk for 5 seconds, he's from Boston, and he loves Jason Tatum. But I think Jason Tatum's good, but some people do question, if he's. I don't know what you guys think, but some guys are questioning his toughness. I don't think there's nothing wrong with his toughness, but I just think, it's hard to win. It's hard to win games, man. All teams have good players in the NBA, man. So and the Sixers, I thought they'd win, but I didn't think the Sixers would sweep. I thought the Nets would win a game or two. That was surprising that the Sixers swept the first round. I thought the Nets were good enough to get maybe 1 game from them. That was my takeaway from the first round.
Well, as a diehard Laker fan, I naturally a Celtics hater, but to me, Tatum's he's that dude. He's good. I don't see where he's weak. I don't see that at all. I mean, I don't like the Celtics, but I'm pretty objective. But he's a fan. He sees more than I do. Maybe he sees.
Well, he's a Boston fan too, and they got like a certain kind of, how Boston and New York guys are. Sometimes they got that certain kind of grunge to them a little bit, and they just they're hard on their players. They love their teams and they're diehard and they're passionate, but they're tough critics of their own team.
He could be a Laker anytime. I won't complain. Shoot.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Bring them on, brother.
Speaking of the Lakers, I won't spend too much time on them. They did what they had to do. Don't see too many 7 seeds beating a 2 seed, but this Laker team is not your typical 7 seed. I mean, they had that slow start, and that's why they were at that 7 seed. But they made some excellent moves. We got D'Angelo there, excellent, good addition. They got up from under Westbrook. That was a good decision, and they did what they had to do. Dylan Brooks. I like players that are like that. A little bit of controversy, stir the pot a little bit. But as you were saying, you got to back it up. People like Draymond Green talks trash, backs it up. Gary Payton, big trash talker, big defensive stopper, backed it up. Dylan's not quite there yet. And the Laker team, LeBron mainly showed them what's up, you know. So yeah, I like players that are like that, that'll stir the pot a little bit, but you got to back it up. Especially you don't talk trash to this guy. You don't talk trash to LeBron unless you're going to back it up. Okay, there's very few that can do that. But
Absolutely.
yeah, they did their job. We had the experience of Golden State taking care of business in Game 7. I was hoping that Sacramento would win that game, but they're one more player away. They need one more player. I don't know what. They're a player away. That's what they're missing. If they want to get over the top and beat a team in the Game 7. I like that team a lot, and I'm going to be watching. We were talking about this the other day, kid, in Miami. I was wondering, because I haven't watched them, so I looked at that team, and you got Jimmy Buckets, you got Kyle Lowry, who's won the championship, you got Kevin Love, who's lost and been to the championship, Victor Oladipo, who's hurt, but he's been in the playoffs and won some big series. That's an experienced team.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have expected them to beat Milwaukee with that team anyway, so I got a good look at them. Well, judging from those players, it shouldn't be a big shock. And we see what they're doing now on this first game of the second series. So yeah, I'm surprised, and I'll be watching them. What else? We have the Clippers. It's too many injuries. Too many injuries. You got PG-13 out. You got Kawhi, who's always hurt, and you'll tell them what's going to happen with him in the future. So yeah, a team like playing Phoenix, you got to be healthy. You got to be healthy. So it's going to be a pretty interesting second round to see here. But those are mainly the series that caught my eye a little bit. Cleveland's a good team. They're a young team. Donovan Mitchell, just like Sacramento, they need one more player. They need one more. But they'll be all right. They'll be all right. I kind of like that team a lot, and I'll be watching. But as far as first half, that's all I got.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. All right, well, that's kind of our synopsis on the first for the quarterfinals on what the teams look like and how they're coming into the second round. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about going into these Eastern Conference Finals. I'll go ahead and kick it off. So we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Boston Celtics. And I'll just dive right into that because they played last night. So last night we see Harden. And when I'm talking James Harden, I'm talking about the real James Harden that can take over a game by himself. And it's been a while since we've seen him dominate in such fashion as a Joel Embiid-less 76ers stole one from Boston last night. I don't think it should have happened, but it did happen. And they go on to tie up the series 1-1 based on Harden's 45-point night. Going 17 of 30 from the field, 17 of 14 from three. And yet the question becomes, can this Harden be this consistent without a Joel Embiid? Because in my opinion, without Joel Embiid, I don't see the Sixers winning. It's just that simple. They got to have Embiid. Now, if Embiid plays, they have an honest-to-goodness chance. But I just don't see it because Boston knows how to get after it on both ends of the court. And so, but and Embiid is a dominant force, and they need that. I just don't know if Harden can put up 45 every night to hold them down without, looking at maybe something of a series play where, um, you know, I think Boston comes out of this maybe 4-2 to win the series. But they got to have Embiid back. But I credit James Harden for a wonderful performance last night. Nobody really saw that coming, but he did. He showed up in a big way. And so I credit the 76ers on and James Harden and that team putting it together to steal one. And I'm saying steal because they stole one in Boston. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. So credit to them. And then I'll just kind of dive right into what's going on with Miami and the Knicks. I know they're playing probably right now as we speak.
Yeah.
But we see the dark horse team known as Miami, and they are a dark horse. But you just don't know what kind of Miami you're ever going to get. But they struck first blood to go up 1-0, even though Jimmy Buckets had a strong performance. Is yet to be determined how effective he'll be after rolling that ankle in game one. And yet I have no doubt that the Knicks will figure this thing out and come out more prepared. And I believe Brunson will show up in a huge way. I believe that they'll tie the series. And especially with word just coming out that Jimmy Buckets was officially out for this game, I think the Knicks can slide right in and tie it up 1-1. And I think this has game 7 written all over it. Because you never want to count out an Eric Spoelstra type team in the Heat, and I'm going with the Knicks to steal it in the end. But like I said, I think this is going to go game 7. So other than that, I mean, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but how cool would it be to see a Boston Celtics and New York Knicks classic in the Eastern Conference semifinals? This is like bringing the classics back, to the Eastern Conference semifinals where you see those names again. So I would love to see that. That is my prediction. But at the end of the day, we still have a long way to go. And so I'm definitely not going to count out the Miami Heat. Definitely not going to count out the 76ers when Embiid does decide to come back, or when he's available to come back, and hopefully soon. And so we can see some great Boston basketball.
Yeah. Good points, Duwane. That game 1, it wasn't Harden did have his 45, but Maxey showed up too and had 26, and Tobias Harris had like around 18, 20 points too. So they had like a 3-headed monster. Of course, Harden was leading the way. He went off from the very beginning all the way to the end. He hit that game-winning shot with like 6 or 7 seconds on the clock. Right straight away, 3-point lead and top of the key. Yeah, I agree though. If big man Embiid has to come back, but Boston has to get game 2, man. They have to get game 2. If they don't and they fall apart, man, I think Philly is completely in the driver's seat, man. But I do see this going 6 or 7. I just got a feeling about Philly this year. I think Embiid's going to come back. He got hurt on April 20th. Boston winning game 1. I'm sorry. Philly winning game 1 was huge because he's not playing game 2. And he could rest for another 4 or 5 days. He could continue to rest. So I think he's hopeful to come back in game 3. And I could see Philly pulling off the upset. But it will be cool to see, like you already mentioned, New York and Boston going at it in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be really cool.
Absolutely.
I think Miami and New York is in the same position as Boston. They got to win game 2. They lost their first home game. They put themselves in a hole, not a big hole, but they got a little bit of a hole they're in, and they definitely got a lot of pressure on them to win game 2. And they are playing right now. I know before we logged in the show, the game was tight. I remember it was a really close first quarter. I'm not sure what's going on now, but the game was really close. And Jimmy Butler's kind of doing the same thing that Embiid's doing. He gets to rest because they won game 1, so that helps out his ankle. So, and Jimmy Butler, man, he always shows up in the playoffs. So, Yeah, and
Agreed.
Monte alluded to it in the first round. Like, and they got a lot of experience, man, and they got a lot of good young players. So they have a nice mixture. We didn't talk Phoenix and Denver. Denver's already up 2-0, man. So Phoenix is in a lot of trouble. So yeah, but the good news for Phoenix though is they're playing at home. If it was the opposite way around, when they lost their 2 home games and had to play two road games, I think they would be done. But since they're playing 2 games at home, if they win the next 2 games, 3 and 4, I could see that going 6 or 7. But they have to win both of those games. If they go on 3-0, it's definitely over. Even if they go down 3-1, like less than 10% of any NBA team in the playoffs has come back from 3-1. I think they've only won like 7 or 8% of the time. They just showed that stat in the first round. So it's possible, but it's very unlikely. Like your chances are not good when you're down 3-1, except for, of course, LeBron James and the Cavs, and when it came back from 3-1 against Golden State in the finals several years ago. That was I think that's like one of the last teams to do it. So it's gonna be interesting. But that's my predictions for the second round, man.
Yeah. Boy, going to with Phoenix and Denver. I watched Denver. They're on a mission. It's the best Denver team I've seen. Better than that bubble team they had. I think they're just tired of getting bounced out early after being the number 1 seed each and every year. Man, they look good. Joker's on the mission. Murray's playing at the top of his game. Game 1, man, it's the best I've seen him play in a while. So on top of that, I just heard this morning that Chris Paul's hurt, so he may not play next. So if they're not careful, they might be down 3-0 and series over. Series over. They'll be waiting for the winner of this Laker Golden State series with a lot of rest. If Phoenix doesn't get it together, I wasn't expecting this. I expected them to at least split, but man, Denver's looks like they're on the mission. They're on another level right now, and that surprised me. The series to watch, and everybody's talking about it, will be our Lakers and Golden State.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Whew, boy,
Yes,
I see it going 7. I see it going 7 as a Laker fan. I hope it doesn't go 7 because it'll be in Oakland or San Francisco, wherever they play. And well, I don't want them to go there game 7, but man, you name it. You got Steph Curry, you got King James, you got AD playing out of his mind right now. He's the key to that series for the Lakers, by the way. He needs to play bigger, and I expect him to play bigger than he did that first round. There's no one on that Golden State team that can guard him. He should have a field goal. My worry is the role players. If they can keep up what they did in the first round. We all know LeBron's going to keep his game going. We need Reeves to play like he's played. We need D'Angelo to make shots. We need Schroeder to guard Curry because I think that's what they're going to do. He might be the best defender they have that can at least give him some trouble. I mean, Curry's still going to score 30 points a game. We all know that. But just to get in his way. Or he might guard Thompson. But I look for that to go 6 or 7 games. And it might be a series of the century. It just might be. I expect this Boston and Philly series to go 6. I think Harden's going to keep up what he's doing. I was surprised of seeing the old Harden. I didn't expect that. And I would like to see him play like that. When he plays that way, he's dishing the ball, scoring points, being the floor general. I like players like that. If they want to win that series, with or without Embiid, that's what they got to do there. And in case you guys didn't know, you've got Miami winning by 3 right now in the third quarter. They're doing this without Jimmy buckets. So,
oh Lord.
Yeah, it's back and forth. So,
I will credit that to good coaching as well. So,
oh yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Oh man, shout out to Eric Spoelstra. I mean, man,
Yes.
heck of a coach.
Yes.
Heck of a coach. And Miami just got some shooters as well. So, like I said, you just can't count Miami out, even though Jimmy buckets is hurt. So at the end of the day, like I said, my prediction is that Knicks will find a way. But this is Miami, and they have a good coach, and he knows what he's doing. So I'm just not going to count them very easily. So with that being said, man, let me just give you a breakdown of my small assessment. You know, we go into the Western Conference Finals, semifinals, and we have these Denver Nuggets going up 2-0 against the Suns on a huge defensive performance from the Nuggets last night. We saw in game one how Gordon and Murray and the Joker, Mr. Jokic, put on huge performances in game one to make a statement that it won't be an easy out. And in game two, the Nuggets made a statement that even on their worst night, they could still make it a good night through their defense and getting grimy with it. You see role players like KCP showed up huge defensive effort, former Laker. And even though Devin Booker even had a decent game with 35 points, but this Phoenix bench, bruh, give me a break. I'm sorry, bruh. This Phoenix bench, OMFG. You heard that right. OMFG. Are you kidding?
Show now.
4 points. 4 points off their bench last night.
Yeah, it's not going to get done.
Repeat that again. 4 points off their freaking.
Wow.
Man, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Everybody knows that they are top heavy. And now that with Chris Paul designated to be out for games 3 through 5, this stuff just got real for the Suns. Yeah. And if you get 4 points from your bench and no Chris Paul to boot, then this series is over before it really even starts.
Yeah.
I will never count out a Devin Booker and a KD. But my goodness, it's not going to happen. Not from 4 points off their bench.
No.
Nah.
I'm just sorry. It just ain't going to happen. And no Chris Paul? Help me understand. This Denver team is as complete as it gets.
Yes.
And and they are playing solid ball. So you gave credit where credit is due. Like I said, I'm trying my best not to count out the Suns. I really am, because I want to see KD and Booker put on the show, and maybe they could still win. But I just see this series maybe going 4-1 at best, if we're lucky. And if not, I think Denver has the firepower to take advantage to go ahead and just call this a clean sweep and chill for 2 weeks until this Lakers and Dubs game gets over. So going into the Lakers and the Warriors, I mean, tonight we have game one between the Dubs and the Lake Show. The question becomes, will the Lakers continue to dominate with their defense, or will Golden State, that legendary sniper, purest shooter in the game we know as Steph Curry, continue to dominate on a consistent basis? I will say that even though Steph took over the game, he still needed support. He still needed some added support. He needs that Klay Thompson effect if they really just going to blow out these Lakers, because I'm going to allude to what Monte said earlier, man. This is not the same Laker team. Now, this ain't the Laker team where you have a Westbrook and you have some bench players in Beverly, even though they're awesome players, man. Obviously, it just wasn't a fit. It just wasn't a fit. But Lakers went out and made some trades, made some deals. Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Dennis Schroeder, Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, picked up Tristan Thompson, Troy Brown. What you have here is shooting. Okay, what you have here is shooting. Now, they are not the best shooting than the Dubs, but they got better through some of these trades. And so I am happy that Lakers were able to put something together. They got some good role players. They got some bench play that I think can hang with the Dubs. But if the Lakers can put on a defensive performance and get that dog in them like they had in that game 6, I think they will hang around and make it to a game 7, and then it's pretty much a toss-up. Yeah. I wouldn't think it'll be a blowout if it gets to a game 7. But a lot of people are saying they got the Dubs in 6. I don't think it'll go to 6. I think game 7, and I love my Lakers, but if I'm a realist, if these Dubs found their groove like they did the last game, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I just don't know, but I think we're going to see a great series. I'm hoping the real Lakers can show up. I'm hoping they get a wonderful performances from their bench, because that is going to help carry them to make this series stretch. And it's pretty much a wait and see, pretty much. But the stats say the Dubs are winning, but my heart is always going to be with the Lakers. So time will tell.
Yeah, I like that series. Gonna be very interesting tonight. Yeah, Klay Thompson does need to show up. In the first series, he played well overall, but of course, Game 7, he had his worst, game of the series, and and Steph did his thing to get to 50. He got his 50 to will them to a win. But I think both teams need good bench play. And Monte alluded to, no one can guard AD. That's true. He's gonna be the difference if he just shows up and stays healthy. But both teams need people off their bench. Like you mentioned Hachimura, you mentioned a few other guys off the Lakers. Austin Reeves isn't a bench guy, but he's a third scorer for the offense. And same thing with Golden State. They need other guys. They need Jordan Poole. They need they need a few other guys. They need DaVinci to make a couple of shots. I think both teams' benches are going to be which bench plays better.
Right.
And Monte and I already alluded to that in the first round. If the Lakers bench plays good, they could knock off Memphis, and they played really well, especially
Exactly.
Hachimura went off. He really went off.
Oh, he did.
So yeah, they both. I think it's going to come down to the bench and AD, how well AD does for that series. I'm hoping the Lakers win it too. You can't, but like you said, you can't. You can't take the defending champs lightly, though. So both teams got off to a slow start, but they're both playing, really well right now. 2, 6, and 7 seeds in the second round, so that's pretty cool. But both have a lot of experience. They're both better than their seeding because they both have championships underneath their belt.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think Phoenix. I'm with you, Duwayne. I think Phoenix is done. They do have KD and Booker, and then they might be able to sneak a game just out of their talent, But yeah, I think they're done. I didn't know, CP3 got hurt, but even if CP3 was playing, I thought it was going to be a challenge for him because they're already down 2-0. But with him being hurt, yeah, I think you can never count anyone out, but I think it's a wrap. But KD and Booker, they got to go off, man. With their bench only scoring the points they do, they both got to be putting up 40 points a night. That's the only way I think they got a chance. They both got to score 40 each game.
I'm telling you, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, we only have less than a minute, so let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Predictions for the Lake Show tonight. Who takes game 1?
Got LA. Lake Show.
I got the Lake Show as well. Let's go, Lakers. Let's go.
I want the Lakers to win the series, but I gotta be devil's advocate. I'm gonna say Golden State just to say it, man. But I want Lakers to win the series, though. I do. I'm with you guys. I want the Lakers to win the series, but I think Golden State has got game 1, man.
It'll be tough.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to just want to say thank you for joining us on this latest episode from the Grid to the Rim and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Also leave comments of who you got winning it all, at least this series, or who you got winning it all, period. And we love to see who you rolling with in these conference semifinals. Other than that, we'll see you on our next episode from the Grid to the Rim and everything in between. We salute you. Thank you for your love and support, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys next time.
All right. Subscribe.
All right, gentlemen.
See y'all.